Hi, I'm RC Jim, and I got a bit of an addendum for you on our little FA-18 here. Well, maybe not so little, but anyway, a couple of things I want to tell you about this. First off, I went flying at the club today, and interestingly enough, I wasn't familiar with the Freewing brand and all of that prior to getting this jet. One of the guys at the club had a Freewing, I think it was a Sabre, Korean War style jet. Maybe a tiny bit smaller, but roughly the same power and all that kind of thing, and very similar landing gear. Well, as he came in for his second landing, he landed on the grass, and it came down reasonably even, maybe a tiny bit nose wheel first. But it collapsed the nose wheel, his folded in backwards. So it collapsed that, and then with that collapsing, it sort of flung it to the side and it busted out one of the main gear. And so anyway, I'm thinking, yeah, I need to plan on landing on the runway, not on the grass. But I also got thinking about the spring mechanism. Now, it's a beautiful set of mechanism, as in the real one, that it allows it to go back as well as to go down, which is what you want when it, hits a little pothole or something. You want it to be able to go backwards, not be forced to go this way. But these things, as it comes, you can't hardly get them in, and they're just really, really stiff. So what I've done is I've lubricated it. And the first time I tried lubricating, I used some silicone spray. Don't do that. I got little spots all over the place here from the silicone spray getting on, and it'll maybe eventually even out. In the meantime, we'll pretend that it's some natural weathering. But what's the better approach is to use some 3-in-1 oil, which I've got sitting here someplace. Here we go. Just a typical multi-purpose oil. And just drop it in on each of the places. Mainly, it's the main shaft that goes into this support here. But I've also put a little bit on the pivot things as well, and that works really beautiful. And now we'll see if it does the same on the ones in the back. Okay, so I got the 3-in-1 oil open. Just put a drop on there is all. And already, immediately, just an immediate result. Put a little drop on the hinge points here. And this doesn't go all over the place, so that's a really nice sort of thing there. Get a bit of something to keep it off the fingers. It's not really dripping anywhere, so that's all looking pretty good. Okay, so now we got some action. I think that's still stiffer than what it really ought to be. It's a lightweight plane, and I'm having to press on that pretty hard to get it in there. But at least it does have some travel. And as compared to this one, I guess I can make that one work, but I think it really wants some lubrication in there. Yeah, much better. So I think that's going to be helpful. Now, the other thing I wanted to show you is what's happening with our storage hangar. Well, here we are in my airplane hangar. And of course, we've got all kinds of things hanging around, from some real old sort of sailplane type things to our various electric powered aircraft. And of course, you've perhaps seen already a video on how we make these fixed sort of hangars. That most of them we have on a rod, such as you see the curtain rod up there at the top. The hole goes through it, and that allows that wooden bracket to slide back and forth on the rod to be able to be adjusted for different aircraft. I then got lazy, and this one over here with the pits, it's just got some hanger iron that fastens it to that beam up there. But I've recently acquired this FA-18, beautiful Freewing FA-18, 90mm ducted fan. And beautiful plane, but rather big, and just, I know what it was like getting this Corsair up there. And yeah, I could have done something like that, but I decided that it was a bit more awkward, and I'd rather have something where I could put it down at ground level and then hoist it up. So that's what we came up with. Let's see how it works. So this is how we do it. We grab a rope here, get it unhooked off of the hook, and have this free. We can let her down. It goes all the way until it comes to the end of that rope there, and that holds it steady in that place. And then we can come back here, get it in a nice secure sort of position, pull it out with no danger of hanger rash, set it down wherever we want, come back from our flying, get it in here, and it, if you have it all the way forward, tiny bit forward, a little bit back, more level, it's not going to come off no matter what you do, but we'll go for the more level. And that's all the way back nearly to the flap. Okay, and then we come back to the rope and we can pull her up nice and neatly. Get the rope over to the hook. And she's all nice and secure. So that's all there is to it. As with the last one that I built, I'm using this door sealer draft stop type stuff on the timber. It sticks on there, and then I put a staple in the end of it to make sure it doesn't come loose. Same thing with the top up there. Wrap it around a bit on the top and on the bottom to avoid doing any sort of damage when the plane is coming on. I decided to have two supports coming down because if you just had a single rope coming down to it, then you'd have a situation where it could pivot, and I want it to be secure that way. As far as the pulleys, well, I used to be a sailor, and so I've got a lot of sailing fittings around, and so that's what those things are. Put a hook over on that wall, whereas up here I just tied them on. I tied them on up there mainly because I might decide to move it sometime, but over here on this wall there wasn't really a good way to tie it, so I figured just use the hook. And then the hook on the other wall, or hook farther down on the wall, that I use to tie it off on, that was already there as part of my storage sort of system that I've got here, and I just rotated it around to make it practical. And the rope is a lot longer than what it needs to be, but yeah, I didn't want to cut it off, so eventually we might do that. So all in all, a really nice system. And yes, that used to be part of a ridge pole for a tent. And no, I didn't save it because that tent was used by my boys when they were little tackers. And I might still have it, but I don't think it's usable. So anyway, very happy with our retractable, or not retractable, raisable plane rack for our FA-18.